everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I just finished watching all 3 episodes of Andor, the new Star Wars Disney Plus show. And yeah, obviously they released all 3 of the first episodes at the exact same time, and I was kind of struggling if I want to do 1 episode at a time or just review all 3 at once, but I'm going to go ahead and do all 3 because, to be honest with you, the first 3 episodes, they feel like it could have just been one really, really long episode, to be honest with you, you know? And yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and get into it, full spoilers. And, you know, I find myself agreeing with a lot of things that you've seen critics say. You know, it is a slow burn. It definitely is. You know, this is probably the most atmospheric and patient Star Wars story that we've gotten, I think, ever. Like this entire show so far, these first 3 episodes, they're all about kind of living in the moment, taking in the music and the environment, and you know, it's just like living in this world as a real person, you know, like and everything is so grounded feeling. None of it feels it's almost like you take the more fantastical elements out of your standard Star Wars, you know, like your Obi-Wan and stuff, you know. It doesn't play around with a lot of people say the word fan service, but you know, I feel like that has a negative connotation to it. But I guess what I mean is, so far at least, you don't have people coming in for no reason. You don't have references to things for no reason. They're not just like, oh yeah, this thing on Tatooine, you know, and it's like, ooh, they said Tatooine, you know, like they don't do stuff like that, you know. Obviously it is still in Star Wars, so like, if you know, they'll mention something, and if you really, you know, go Google it, and it's like, oh yeah, that actually is a thing somewhere, you know. But anyways, yeah, so this is just a very grounded, very patient, slow burn, slow moving Star Wars show. And that's not going to be for everyone. I've already seen some people say like, oh, it's just too slow for them. It's just, you know, and that, you know what? I think that's fair, because a lot of comparisons are being brought to like Blade Runner and a lot of like, you know, kind of gritty sci-fi movies like that. And, you know, Blade Runner is not for everyone. It is slow. It is gritty. It is grounded. It is like, you know, it's all about taking in the vibe. You know what I mean? Like people, I think the kids would say this thing has a vibe to it. This thing has a vibe to it. I like this is one instance where like I know what they mean. You know, like this thing just, it feels so different than any other Star Wars. You know, like this one is just very distinct, and I don't really know how to describe it other than that. It's got a vibe to it, you know. And I feel like the more the show goes on, and as we meet like Mon Mothma and all the political stuff, that style, that vibe, the grittiness is gonna only increase with, you know, now it's got political intrigue, you know, and you know, subterfuge or whatever the word is, you know, like this is a very fascinating show, you know, and it's gonna really, really, really work for some people, and for other people who want more of the fan service and more of the action and more of the, you know, like Easter eggs and references, maybe it won't work for those people, you know. And you know what, that's okay. They're trying something different here. This is just a different kind of show, and I'm glad they made this, you know, like the scale, the scope of it, the feeling of it, it's amazing so far. Now I will say, like I already said, the first 2 episodes especially are pretty slow moving, and if you are already tired, or if you stayed up till midnight, till when the show dropped, and you started watching those first 2 episodes, you might find yourself kind of like tapping your foot, looking at your watch, saying like, okay, can it get moving? Can something happen? Because like I said, it's very atmospheric. They're taking their time, you know what I mean? Like you kind of have to have patience for it. You can pretty much take the first 2 episodes and call that 1 episode, I would say. In episode 3 is where stuff really starts to pick up, and you can tell like, okay, now that we're off planet, now that we've met this guy who's gonna like make Cassian Andor a member of the rebellion, or at least, you know, if the rebellion's even a thing, you know. Now that we kind of see this happening, it's gonna like really take off, you know. And the 3rd episode really is the first time we're getting like actual action sequences, and even those are like they're pretty small in scale. You know, it's not like an epic battle or something. You know, but there's a lot of fascinating stuff happening in this show, even besides all that. So basically, here's, you know, the rundown of the plot. Cassian Andor is he lives on this scrapper type planet. Well, I don't know if they're miners or scrappers. They're kind of both. I'll have to look at what the description of the planet said. But basically, he goes to this planet is underneath the jurisdiction of this corporation, and this corporation is working with the Empire to basically, I guess, just kind of rule this area of space. It's kind of unclear because I don't really remember hearing this in Star Wars before, where like corporations are like running parts of this. I don't know exactly why that would be the case, like why the Empire would be like, yeah, you guys handle all that, you know. This corporation has their own police, and they're not stormtroopers, they're not Imperials, they're just members of this corporation. So it's interesting, you know. I'm sure it's all sort of an allegory for maybe some real world things that have happened in the world, right? Anyway, so Cassian Andor is looking for his sister, who he was separated from when he was a child, because there's still a lot of mysterious elements to this part. But from what we learn, he was living on this other planet. It starts with a K. I don't remember the name of it. But he was living on this other planet with a tribe of, it looked like mostly children and teenagers. So I'm not sure what happened to all the adults, because I don't think we see any adults in that whole tribe that he's with. And you have to gauge this was somewhere around the Clone Wars era, or maybe the very end of the Clone Wars. And basically, this ship crashes, and they go explore it, and he ends up exploring it alone because some of them get attacked by surviving members of the crew on this ship. And this ship, it looked like some kind of yellow poison gas had leaked, and that's what caused them to crash. And everyone's like skin is dyed yellow. So I don't know if this is actually going to become like a reoccurring plot point that like, oh, whatever this mystery was is important, or if it's just like to tell you that it was poison. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how important that part's actually going to be. But you know, he goes on the ship, he's looking around, he starts breaking everything, and he gets discovered by who becomes his adopted mother. It's Mrs. Dursley from Harry Potter. I don't remember the character's name. You know, I'm not so great with character names. But basically, yeah, he gets separated because she takes him in because they say that a Republic frigate is coming, and the Republic would kill him and their entire tribe because they said they killed a Republic commander. But then again, everyone had a Separatist logo on their vest, so it's very strange the way they phrase this, because she says the Republic is coming and they're gonna shoot down everyone, but then these are Separatists. And then I don't know, it's very, very weird. What's up with that? Why do they have Separatist clothing on if the Republic is here? What exactly is happening? You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm sure we'll figure all that out, maybe, or maybe I missed something. But the way they phrased it, you know, the Republic is coming and they would kill everyone for some reason. If they're not the Empire yet, why would the Republic do that? I don't know. But basically, she ends up taking Cassian and adopts him, and here he is, 20 years later, he's Cassian Andor, right? And he's been looking for his sister, and when he goes to the headquarters of this company that their entire world is under the jurisdiction of, he accidentally runs into a couple of security officers from this corporation, and they start hassling him, and there's a struggle, and one of them gets killed. And because, now he can't leave this other one alive, he shoots the other guy too. So now both of them are dead, and Cassian is wanted. And leading the investigation from the corporation is this fascinating character who's like, he's like a lead detective, I guess, or a lead officer of the security bureau for this corporation, but you can tell he wants to be an Imperial so badly, because he's literally, they pointed out, he's tailored his uniform to look, it looks more Imperial, it's like more uniform is the word, you know. You know what I'm saying? Like it definitely does not look like anyone else's, and he stands all proper, and he wants to do everything by protocol, and he's like trying to be very like demanding, like. So I don't know if this guy like had once tried to join the Empire and was rejected, and so kind of in place of that, maybe he joined this corporation. I don't know exactly what happened, but you can tell that he is kind of mad internally that like this corporation does not operate itself like the Empire operates, you know. So very interesting things happening there as to like, you know, why is the Empire working with this corporation in the first place? Like, what is their relationship with each other? You know, fascinating stuff. But basically, you know, he's investigating the murders. He's going after Cassian Andor, and Cassian Andor has to escape. That's essentially all that happens. And he meets up with Stellan Skarsgård's character, who, you know, he was originally gonna just buy this box, and it was like an Imperial. Some kind of imperial star chart that could like locate any kind of imperial frigate in some radius. It's really valuable, and that's basically why they were meeting. And then he's kind of like, hey, come with me, let's leave this place. You can fight the bad guys for real, you know. So basically it's like we can actually go after the Empire themselves instead of, you know, messing around with this corporation kind of thing. And that's pretty much where we leave off at the end of the third episode. And, you know, like I said, I'm fascinated to see where this is going. And we've heard that like every 3 episodes is going to be like its own little arc. So if this was just like the beginning to like get the launching pad of Cassian Andor to leave this planet and why people are chasing him and why he's kind of like a wanted criminal now, there you go. That's basically what happened. He was wanted for murder, and then he escaped. And there's some other things that happen in this town, like when all the corporation guys show up and they're looking for Cassian. Some of them start like banging these metal pots and stuff, like pots and metal things, chimes, like outside of their houses, and then one by one everyone starts doing it. And I am not entirely sure what this was supposed to be, if it was supposed to be like an intimidation tactic like they said, or if it was like some other kind of signal. But it was interesting, you know. And I watched the scene again. I'm like, so what exactly are they doing? What are they signifying here? You know, are they trying to like communicate through Morse code by like hitting these pots? Like I still don't quite understand it. I'm sure I missed something. All I know is it was interesting. So as of right now, Andor, you know, it does feel like that, at least the beginning, it's gonna be somewhat of an acquired taste, I guess. You know, you have to have patience for it. You have to sit there and be like, okay, it's very atmospheric, it's very Blade Runner, it's very like, you know, hey, look at this world, look at what a normal person has to go through, look at this, essentially a brothel, look at, you know, just you know, even small things, even like small mundane tasks, like someone gets on a payphone essentially, or someone looks through a computer, or someone's looking through, you know, flight patterns from the other night. You know, it feels like we're seeing these monitors and all this stuff in a way that we've never seen them before, and seeing like this technology being used in ways that like the movies kind of gloss over the way that they use the computers, the way that they, you know, use the ships and all that. But this was like showing you every little button they press, and, you know, like it was just interesting, you know. So yeah, Andor so far, it's a very, very different show. It's not going to be for everyone, I can tell you that right now, and that's okay. You know, it's okay if Andor it's too slow for you. I have to imagine it's definitely going to pick up, especially as we get more into the political realm of it. And, you know, we're going to meet Saw Gerrera and all that stuff. But I have so many questions, and it's hard to gauge exactly what is actually going to be addressed and what is important, you know, because, like, I can sit here and think about, like, so what was this poison gas that took down that ship in the first place? Why did it turn everyone yellow? What was all that? And then the show might never address it, you know? So right now it still feels like I'm kind of in a let's just see where this is kind of going kind of thing. The vibe of it and the tone and the pacing and it feels a lot like Rings of Power, where, you know, Rings of Power, it's, you know, just like this show, it's very much about like just living in the world and just like looking at the scenery and just seeing characters walk around, I guess, you know, and like maybe that seems boring to some people, but like to me, I kind of get what they're doing. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where this goes. You know, Cassian escaped his home world for now, but I mean, B2, the droid, he's still with his mom on the planet, so there's no way he's leaving the droid behind. The droid's obviously coming back, right? So he's gonna somehow swing by the planet again and pick the droid up or something. I don't know. Fascinating to see where this goes. It was an interesting place to leave off for 3 episodes. And yeah, it was definitely a smart decision, I think, to like, you know, give us these 3 up front, because like if we had to sit through those first 2 as like the first entire weeks, like, you know, the first 2 weeks of waiting were those 2 episodes, I do feel like a lot of people would have lost their patience even more, you know? And so it's interesting. I wonder how much they knew that, you know? I wonder if Lucasfilm was like, yeah, the first 2 episodes are very much like, it's a slow burn, you know? And it's not like an accident, you know? It's not like they didn't intentionally do this. You know, it is very much like, hey, it's just, you know, it's atmospheric. I don't know how else to put it, but yeah, I have a lot of questions. I have so many questions, and it feels like even though we watched 3 episodes, it really just barely started. You know, it feels like things only just started to happen at the end of episode 3, and now, you know, like now I feel like okay, now I can wait a week. You know, I'm glad they gave us those 3. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about Andor so far. It's an interesting show. It's definitely, I mean, I suppose it is exactly how the trailers kind of presented it to be, but it might be slower than a lot of people would like. But I will say this: the production value is insane. You know, even when it feels like, oh, nothing major plot-wise is happening, you look in the background and you look at the characters doing things, like stuff is happening. You know what I mean? Like they're not just kind of like sitting around like NPCs not doing anything. It's like, no, the world feels alive, you know? And, you know, maybe that's really what they're trying to get you to notice and to get to, you're like, okay, you're actually living here. You look at the little background details, look at the people doing things, you know. I don't know. That's just me. I do enjoy that kind of thing, so that's just me. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you feel about Andor. Was it too slow for you? Is it too much of a slow burn, and do you need things to kind of like pick up with the plot and get moving? Because I definitely understand that, you know. I saw this comment where people were saying like, oh, everyone's got ADHD these days. They can't like have patience and just watch the world building, you know. And yeah, that's probably true. You know, like a lot of people just don't have that kind of patience. I mean, you know, we live in the binge world, you know, like Netflix, we binge everything, you know, so like people just want it now, like just, you know, get to it. So I don't know. I understand where people are coming from, but I also understand what the show's doing. So, you know, it's gonna be on a case by case basis, you know. Let me know what you guys think of Andor. Let me know how you're feeling about it. It's going to be interesting. I feel like this one's going to be pretty mixed, but we'll see what side it kind of falls on. All right, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.